we need to have a conversation about some of the very alarming rhetoric that is emerging in the wake of the attacks that we're witnessing on Jews across Europe right now. One of the most common things that I hear in response to that, as a means to justify that, is, yeah, but look at what's happening in Gaza. This is retaliation for that. Now, you would never apply this logic to any other community. If Muslims in the West, innocent civilians here, were being attacked, nobody would ever say, well, look at what the Islamic regime in Iran is doing. Look at what Hamas did on October 7th, and they supported that. Nobody would say, but look at what the Taliban is doing in Afghanistan. Look at the Houthis, look at Hezbollah. Because you understand the difference between Muslims here and a foreign regime or government. But somehow you just can't make that distinction with Jews. The inability to make that distinction, the perception of Jews as not humans, but a government, is quite literally the definition of dehumanization. You're no longer a human, you're a government. And when you stop being human, it makes it that much easier to kill you. It makes it that much easier to attack you, to hunt you, and justify it. You just don't happen to apply that standard to anybody else. Can you imagine a hunt in the United States of America on Chinese Americans because of what the CCP is doing to the Muslim Uyghurs in China? Can you imagine a hunt on Russians in America? Should every individual Muslim be punished for the more than 1,000 years of Islamic conquests, colonialism, imperialism, fundamentalism, torture, mass slaughtering? Should every individual white person be held accountable for the history of Western colonialism? When will your madness end? How do you decide who your madness applies to? Which one of us is next in line to be subject to your righteous insanity? The other thing that people will say about the attacks in Amsterdam specifically is that they were in response to the behaviors of the Israeli soccer hooligans. What people don't seem to be able to connect is the fact that these are different people, that later in the day, and indeed the next day, these mobs were going around looking for Jews in the streets, asking, where are you from, before attacking them, throwing them in the river and beating them unconscious. If there was ever a Black, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern community where a group of them had done something earlier in the day and then later there's a hunt for every member of that community to attack them, nobody would say it was justified. They'd say these are different people. The reason that you apply this collective responsibility onto Jews but no other community is because of this concept of de-individuation. A Jew is no longer an individual. They're no longer a singular person. They are part of a collective, and the entire collective is responsible for each of its parts. So it isn't just the harm that you justify against Jews, it's the harm that you justify against Jews that you won't justify against any other community. It isn't just that you treat Jews as a collective that are all responsible for each other, it's that you treat Jews as a collective, but you treat every other member of every other community as an individual who only has personal responsibility. It isn't just seeing all Jews as the Israeli government, it's seeing all Jews as the Israeli government, but every other member of every other community gets to be a person. We've seen these patterns in history before, and these patterns should reveal to you, the thinker, that your brain has been primed to justify harm against a community. And if you're already there, I urge you to walk this back.